So we discussed about the in this discussion on the causes, looking at the causes, so we talked about this situation, those who believe in there is no cause, everything comes just like that, and there is no cause, that we already discussed. And now we come to the second, which is, those who say that everything happens because of some other causes. And there, the two. One is impermanent causes, something impermanent that causes things, or something, an eternal cause, eternal, something that's permanent, that's the cause of all these things. About the impermanent causes, we have also talked before, and we will talk in the future also. So now, at this moment, on 118 onwards, we deal with the permanent causes. Now this few different philosophies on this. They are actually many of the what we call as the Vedic philosophies, which believes in a creator, what is called as Ishvara. That's the Sanskrit word, but it is very much similar to what this Abrahamic religions like Christianity, Muslim, Judaism also, that things, everything is created by a creator, a God. I think this is, there are of course subtle differences, but I think mostly same. Those who believe in Ishvara say that he is the Lord, all-knowing, eternal, self-arising. He is divine, pure, worshipful, or worthy of worship, needs to be worshipped, is permanent, is immutable or impermanent, it doesn't change. It is one, and in the movement of his mind, with the movement of his mind, he is the maker of everything, he is the creator of everything. So he has these kind of attributes. He has created the universe by his premeditated will. That's the. They are different, slightly different philosophies, slightly different systems of belief, but basically believe in a creator who is permanent and all-knowing and things like that. So to that, the Buddhist or the Madhyamika way of thinking is, if Ishvara is held to be the cause of beings, you must now define for us his nature. If by this you simply mean the elements, no need to tire ourselves disputing names. So when you talk about Ishvara or the God, and what exactly is Ishvara? What exactly is the God? What exactly is that creator? And some say that it is one with the nature. It's the elements. It's the like air, water, fire, and earth, and things like that. If that is the case, then he says no need to discuss. There's no need to discuss, or there's no need of any debate. It's just, if you want to give all the elements, the basic elements that creates the whole world, whole universe, if you call that Ishvara or God or whatever, then it's just giving a different name for all the elements that actually is creating everything. Then I have nothing to say. It's just different terms you're using. So there's nothing. And then in 119, yet earth and other elements are many, impermanent, inert, without divinity, trampled underfoot. They are impure, and thus they cannot be a God impotent. If that is the case, then all these elements, like earth and water and fire and air, if they are they of course they create. They are the basis of all the things that we that is there. But if these you call it God, then or Ishvara, they are not one. There are many. Earth is not water. Water is not fire. Fire is not air. And all these are different, and each one can be very many, as we discussed before. So there are many, and this is not impermanent. There's not permanent. There is nothing permanent in them. They're always changing, and so therefore they are all impermanent and inert, without divinity. You cannot call it divine, because they're just elements, and well, if you want to call it divine, but there's nothing something that knows everything or sees everything or nothing of this kind. And these elements, you can also trample under your foot, and use it everywhere. So not necessarily they are completely, impure or completely worship, always worshipped or something like that, or needs to be worshipped. So if because of that, these elements cannot be called omnipotent God, omnipotent, with all these qualities that you said the Creator has. It doesn't have all these qualities. Then 120. The deity cannot be space, inert and unproductive. Sometimes they might say that, no, this is what we call Ishvara, is space. It's like space. But this also cannot be correct. Since space is inert, space is something that space is just the space. There is no activity there. There's no space itself is not a thing. It's just only a place where there's nothing. So things can happen in that, but it is not itself creating anything inert. And devoid of creative movement, the other elements can create things or can, when they are kind of in certain interdependent, kind of accumulation, or then things happen in the space, but the space itself does not do any actions. It doesn't have any actions because it is just an empty space. So therefore, you can't say space is the creator. It is unable to produce anything. In any case, the idea that space is the same as Purusha or the self has already been refuted. Space, is not Purusha or a self, Atma or Purusha or a permanent and truly existing consciousness or self. We discussed these things a little bit before, so deity cannot be space because it's inert and unproductive. It cannot be self. For this we have refuted already. He is inconceivable, they say. Then likewise his creatorship. And then some say that, the God or the or the Ishvara is something that nobody can conceive. It's beyond any conception. Cannot be understood. Cannot be seen or touched or cannot. It's beyond our mind, beyond any conception. So if the Creator is beyond any conception or beyond anybody knowing what that is or who that is, then how can you say that it is created by that? Because if it is beyond conception, if nobody knows, then who knows? And who can say that it is that there is this unconceivable thing? Because if nobody knows, it's beyond any concept, beyond any knowing, then, how can we say that it is that? Because nobody should know. Then likewise his creatorship, is there any point therefore to such a claim? So, how do we know that this created this, or that is created by that, or like for instance, the use of such images, the theists will say, does not in fact weaken their position, since viewing from the side of creatures, the divine nature is inconceivable. But if God is beyond understanding, so is his creative role. If he is inconceivable, what is to be gained by calling him creator? Assertions must be based on reflection and knowledge. If God is utterly unknowable, who can say that he is the creator? What is it that he wishes to create? There's 121. What is it that he wishes to create? He has made the self and all the elements, but are not self and elements and he himself eternal. And consciousness, we know, arises from its objects. Moreover, if the cause, the creator, is unknown, then how can we say that creation is willed by him? It is in knowing both the creator and the created that the causal relationship between them is to be ascertained and expressed. If this were not so, it would follow that even a barren woman's son would be the creator. So I'm actually reading from this commentary of Khenpo Kompa, because this is, I think, easy to understand. But what is the created work of this almighty deity? Does he create the permanent self and so on? Or the transient states of consciousness? In the first case, the theist may say that God creates the self. But do they not also say that the self and the particles of the physical elements, the created effects, are eternal, just like God? If so, how is the attribution of eternity to both cause and effect consistent with the relationship of creator and created? For such a cause is without creative function, and such a result is without the character being created. So if that creator is creating something that's eternal, then, it's not eternal. It's something that is, that is created. And it has, and all these things that is created has to be the same element of the creator, but it doesn't have. It keeps on changing, So it is in knowing, in the first case, but do they not also say the self and the particles of the physical element, the created effects are eternal, just like God? If so, how is the attribution of eternity to both cause and effect consistent with the relationship of creator and created? Because if something creates something, that means it's making an action, and therefore it is changing. Changing means the thing that the being or the person or the creator, before it's creating something and after creating something, so it's two different things, it changes. And if that is not changing, then what is changing? And so therefore you can't say it is totally unmoving, or it's not completely unchanging. And also you can't say it's totally one, because there is the creator and then the creation coming out of that. It's two different things, So therefore, if so, how is the attribution of eternity to both cause and effect consistent with the relationship of creator and creator? For such a cause is without creative function, and such a result is without the character of being created. So therefore, it's if but then, if our consciousness is created by the creator, then it has to be always there. It has to be. But we know that consciousness of seeing happens when there is an object to see, and consciousness of hearing happens when there is a sound. So therefore, these consciousnesses actually arise from the object and all the dependent situations. It is not always there, as we discussed this before. So anyway, I think we have to stop here, and then we continue this discussion. So it's 121. We passed quite a lot before 20 minutes. So I will now read out the Tibetan. onshu ndrovi jayena reshi onshu konyume. Junamhina tetame mizanlayu jeshinga. Wenjun sasu tamato moto yumi lamesh. Ngajani to motsongi tena onshu nyamayo. Onshin kamen yumisha. Dhamma ngalna kausensha. Saman payu shepoyun. Saman jupi jeshi shahas. I think up to there. Thank you very much.